So the NBA bracket is finally complete. We know who the 7 seeds are in each conference and the 8 seeds because the Warriors ended up losing to the Grizzlies last night, and we know that the Grizzlies are the 8 seed. So what is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? I'm going to be doing my annual playoff prediction bracket here. Now, last year, it didn't go so well. My finals were the LA Clippers versus the Milwaukee Bucks, and they both ended up losing in round 2. So I'm hoping to do a little bit better this year, but I don't want to be the popular picks, right? I don't want to pick all 1 seeds or maybe all the favorite seeds, but this year maybe it's a little bit different because the 1 seed in the Western Conference, the Utah Jazz, I feel like nobody's picking them to go to the finals, let alone win it. So yeah, I'm going to be giving you guys my bracket today. If you guys enjoy the videos, drop a thumbs up and let me know down below who's your final 4, who's in your conference finals, and who's your NBA finals picks. Let me know down below because I love seeing your guys picks there as well compared to mine. So we could start off in the Western Conference. I also this is on picks.nba.com. You can see it in the top left if you want to try this out yourself. I believe I can pick as many games in it as well. Okay, yes. So I'm going to take the Jazz in round 1 and I'm going to take them in 5 games. I think the Jazz, as long as Donovan Mitchell is healthy, they're still a really good team. They're still an elite team against non-elite teams, and the Grizzlies aren't an elite team, so I think the Jazz would be fine against them in round 1. Maybe Ja Morant will go off 1 game. I'm sure he'll go off multiple games, but let alone go off 1 game where he could snag the Grizzlies a win, maybe the first game in Memphis or the second game 1, maybe in game 3 or game 4. But I think the Jazz should win both at home. Might be close, and we might be like, wow, some 1 seed they are, but I think they'll get it done in 5 games and go on to round 2 for something they haven't done in a couple years since they lost in round 1 last year to the Nuggets. Now we got Clippers versus the Mavericks, an amazing series. I actually predicted this series pretty well last year. I said it's going to be very close. I picked the Clippers in 6. They won in 6, I think, and Luka was going to give them a lot of problems, and he did. And I think that the Mavericks didn't really get much better from last year to this year. KP has been on and off due to injury. Josh Richardson really isn't being the pickup they needed. Tim Hardaway Jr. has been playing well. Jalen Brunson's playing well. Dorian Finney-Smith on the defensive end. But I still think the Clippers will be able to outmatch them. But I'm going to give them 6 games. I think that the Dallas Mavericks are too talented, especially Luka Doncic. He's too talented. They're too well coached to not at least steal a game or 2. So I'm going to take the Clippers in 6, and we have a 1v4 here in round 2. Blazers and Nuggets. This is going to be an amazing series. The last time they faced off in the playoffs, it went to 7 in the Western Conference semifinals in 2019, and then that's when the Blazers lost to the Warriors, and then the Warriors ended up losing to the Raptors that year. It was a great playoffs, and this year, it's going to be a great series, man, and I kind of want to take Portland. I'm very intrigued on taking Portland here, due to, like, the Nuggets being a good team, and if they had Jamal Murray, I think I would have picked them to win the NBA Finals, or excuse me, win the Western Conference, because I would just want it to be different like that, but since they don't have Jamal Murray, I don't feel comfortable taking them. And it's going to be a close series. But like, we're going up against the best player from the regular season, Nikola Jokic. He's going to win MVP. I just don't know if I take the Nuggets here or do I take the Blazers, because I'm having it going to 7, and this is tough because I kind of want to be a little bit different, not pick all the favorites. Oh, this is so tough. You know what? I'm going to take... Oh, this is tough. I'm going to take Portland in 7. I want to be different. I could see the Nuggets easily winning in 7. I could see the Nuggets winning in 5. I just want to be a little bit different, like I said, and there's going to be an upset that I'm not going to predict, and this might be the one. Like, I could take the Nuggets like I normally would, and then I'll be like, oh, how did I not think the Blazers could pull off the upset? The Blazers are still a really solid team. Damian Lillard is still a top 10 player in the NBA, and they're going to be semi-fully healthy, you know, so I'm going to take the Blazers in 6, and the Lakers versus the Suns. Oh, poor Suns fans, man. You haven't made the playoffs in a decade, and the year you do, you're an elite team, but you gotta face LeBron and the Lakers in round 1. You get rewarded with being the 2 seed with facing LeBron and Anthony Davis. Oh, poor Suns fans, poor Suns fans. I'm gonna take the Lakers in 6. I can't bet against LeBron in round 1, as much as I'd like to see Chris Paul beat LeBron. And hey, the Suns, I think, are good enough to beat the Lakers. I just can't bet against LeBron in round 1 against the Suns. Like, they match up all right against them. You're going to put Mikal Bridges most likely on LeBron. You're going to have Aiden shadow AD. I don't know really who's going to be guarding Drummond. They might get out-rebounded. I don't know who really they're going to slide in there to really give them the size they need. I mean, it's tough because, like, who guards Devin Booker? Is it going to be, I guess it's like a mixture of KCP and Caruso on who's going to be on Booker and, or like Wesley Matthews and Chris Paul. I would love to see the Suns win. I really would, but I just can't bet against LeBron, like I said. So that is going to be my Western Conference first round. We have 2 upsets down there, and then we have the favorites winning up here. So on to the Eastern Conference, Sixers versus the Wizards. This one's fairly easy. I do think the Wizards can steal a game where Rush drops a crazy triple-double in Washington. I could even see them taking game 1. 2 years ago, I actually went to this game when the Nets faced the Sixers in round 1. The Nets took game 1. I believe Embiid didn't play that game, though, so that was the main reason why. But, like, the Wizards are still talented enough with John Wall, with Bradley Beal, with Davis Bertans, with kind of their young guys. I think they should be able to steal a game. Chandler Hutchinson's been playing all right as of late as well. Yeah, I think they could steal at least one game in Washington, probably, where Rush drops like a 20, 15, and 10 stat line, and Beal goes for 35. So I'm going to take the Sixers in 5, though. They should win that series with ease. The Knicks versus the Hawks. Now, this is the first time I've seen my Knicks in the playoffs since 2013. Probably one of the best teams we've seen the Knicks be in a while. So I'm going to take the Knicks in this series. It's probably me being a little bit biased. I don't think there's any way I would ever take the Hawks. But I'm not going to say the Knicks are going to sweep. I'm going to say the Knicks are going to win in 6 or 7. I'm going to say 6. I don't want to do too many 7-game series because we already have ones over there. Or I guess I only have 1 so far. I do have a couple 6-game series already. So you know what? I'm going to say in 7 just to be cautious. Yeah, I'm going to say Knicks in 7. Okay. I think the Knicks will beat the Hawks, but I think it'll be a competitive series. Like, I think they can go back and forth. Like, Knicks win a game, Hawks win a game, Knicks win a game, Hawks win a game. It's 2-2, and then maybe the Knicks go up 3-2, Hawks tie it up, and then the Knicks win in 7. Then we got Milwaukee versus Miami. Oh, boy. Like, I meant to say this for this video, but Milwaukee has the toughest path on winning the NBA Finals. No team has a tougher road than them. I mean, like, maybe the Clippers, they would have to go through Dallas, then Utah, the 1 seed, and then the Lakers, and then the Eastern Conference team. But no, I don't think so. The Bucks got to go through the reigning Eastern Conference champions, Miami Heat. Then they got to go through Brooklyn. Then they got to go through Philly. Yeah, they got to go through Miami, Brooklyn, and Philly, and then face most likely one of the LA teams. That is ridiculously hard. If the Giannis and the Bucks can pull it off, their legacy cemented right there. But I'm going to take the Heat over I'm going to take the Bucks, over the Heat in 6 games. They're going to get their revenge on the Heat last year. This is like an Eastern Conference Finals matchup in round 1. It's going to be a fantastic series. 2 great defensive teams going at each other. Jimmy Butler just had his best year. You could say Bam Adebayo definitely just had his best year. And then you got Giannis, Jrue Holiday just had his best year. Chris Middleton. It's going to be a great matchup there. Eric Spoelstra, he's the better coach in this series. We'll see if Budenholzer can keep his job alive, because they said if they don't make a playoff run, he's getting the can. Now, if they lose in round 1, he's definitely getting the can. Now, will they give him some sympathy for losing to Brooklyn in round 2? I don't know. That we'll have to wait and see on that one. But yeah, Brooklyn versus Boston. I'm going to take Brooklyn. Do I think Tatum gets them a win? Sure. I'll be nice to Tatum and the Celtics. They're a respectable team. I still think a lot of people are coming at Stevens' throat and saying he underachieves. But, like, in the last 3 years, they have made it to the Eastern Conference Finals 2 times. They lost to LeBron in 2018, and then they lost to the Heat last year. Like, I feel like the Celtics have succeeded enough where their young core, or their 2 best players, are under 25 years old. So they definitely have a long ways ahead of them, and they're not even near their prime yet, or any of their peaks. Now, maybe the Kemba Walker signing hasn't been the best, and them not adjusting maybe a rim protector. But I think Robert Williams will develop fine into one, and I think we're a little bit too quick to give Brad Stevens the can or the boot. They made the playoffs, the last 7 years, and he's definitely overachieved with some teams that shouldn't have been in the finals. Now, I mean, when they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, the East was a little bit weak that year. Last year was the bubble, but I still think they've done fine, where I wouldn't really think about firing Brad Stevens, because what coach is better out there? I mean, maybe you can find a college coach or assistant coach out there that can be like your next Nick Nurse or somebody like that, but I wouldn't jump the gun on that. So here is my Eastern Conference and Western Conference semifinals. Now we'll go over to the Western Conference. I think the Clippers will beat the Jazz in 6 games. I think it'll be a good series. We'll see Donovan Mitchell shine. We'll see Rudy Gobert shine. But I just can't bet against. As long as we're getting playoff P and we're not getting pandemic P, I think the Clippers should be fine and will win this series in 6 or 5 games. Now we got Lakers versus Blazers. Come on. I couldn't take LeBron over a really good 2 seed. The Phoenix Suns with Chris Paul, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, and Mikal Bridges. I mean, I can't take him over Lillard. I mean, it's a rematch from last year's round 1. I'm going to take the Lakers in 5. They beat them in 5 last year, and we've used 7 versus a 4 seed in the conference finals. Some parity, right? It's not the favorites. It's not like it's a 1v2 seed. I mean, if we see the Jazz versus Suns in the conference finals, I'll give someone that comments this video $200, because I just can't see that happening at all. But yeah, now we have the Sixers versus the Knicks. As much as I would like the Knicks to win, the Knicks played the Sixers, I think, 3 times this year. 2 of them were without Embiid. I could be wrong on this, but I know they played them twice without Embiid, and they lost both of those. And they're most likely going to have Embiid as long as he stays healthy, knock on wood, every one of these games here. So I'm going to take the Sixers, but in how many games? Do I give the Knicks 1 win, or do I give them 2? I'm going to give the Knicks 2 wins. I think they can be competitive enough where they can steal 2 games. It'll probably be like 3-1, Knicks make it 3. Like, it's 2-0, Knicks make it 2-1, Sixers make it 3-1, and then Knicks make it 3-2, and then the Sixers end up winning in 6 on the road. And then we got the Bucks versus the Nets. Oh, baby, this is a good series. This really is. I just can't. I'm going to take the Nets in 7. I just can't bet against KD, Harden, and Kyrie as long as they're staying healthy. This is going to be such a good matchup series because you can ask so many different questions. Who's guarding who? All right, for the Nets, who's guarding KD? Giannis. He's probably him or Bam Adebayo are the 2 best players in the NBA you could probably put on KD. Now, who guards James Harden? You're probably going to put Drew Holiday on James Harden, and then who you're going to put on Kyrie Irving? Or no, you'll probably put PJ Tucker on James Harden. At least this is what I would do. And then you put DiVincenzo / Holiday, but mainly Holiday, on Kyrie Irving. They actually match up probably the best out of any team in the league on the Nets. But for the Nets, who guards Giannis? Is it going to be DeAndre Jordan? Is it going to be Kevin Durant? Is it going to be Jeff Green? So you got to ask that question. And then who guards Drew Holiday? Probably Kyrie Irving. And then who guards Chris Middleton? James Harden? Or maybe they'll put Bruce Brown or Blake Griffin on him. The Bucks definitely match up better against the Nets than the Nets do against the Bucks. But I'm just going to take the offensive team that I know at least 2 of the 3 guys will always be efficient and score 25 plus, and you can rely on those guys. There's just like, it can maybe happen once or twice in this series where all 3 of the Nets stars don't shoot well and don't play well. It's just not going to happen. You can bet on at least 2 of them playing well in every game. Now, we got the Lakers versus the Clippers. We should have got this last year in the conference finals, but the Nuggets spoiled that. But hey, shout out to the Nuggets. The Clippers blew a 3-1 lead. I was hoping the Nuggets would pull off the Cinderella run and go to the finals. But now we get the Lakers versus the Clippers with a crowd in the conference finals. Every game is kind of going to be like a Lakers home game. And I want to be different. I don't want to have the Lakers back in the finals. I mean, LeBron might be injured a little bit this time. I don't know. Like, if I had to bet money, I'm sure I would take the Lakers. But for my prediction, I'm going to take the Clippers in 7. This is what I had last year, and maybe I'll never learn. I took the Clippers over the Lakers last year in the conference finals in 7. I'm going to do the same this year. And hey, maybe I'm just never going to learn. But I'm going to say it, and I'm going to stick by it, and I'm going to have the Clippers in the NBA Finals. And now we have the Philadelphia 76ers versus the Brooklyn Nets. Another kind of series where who's matching up against who. So you're going to put what? For the Sixers, who's guarding Embiid? DeAndre Jordan? Blake Griffin? I don't know. Kevin Durant? Who's guarding Ben Simmons? I guess it would be like James Harden or like Bruce Brown, Jeff Green, somebody like that. And then Tobias Harris can probably be like Kevin Durant or James Harden. Or yeah, like James Harden. Probably not James Harden, but like Jeff Green mainly. And then who's guarding KD? Is it going to be Embiid? Because it's not going to be Tobias Harris, so maybe it's Embiid. Because then the Sixers do match up well. You could put Ben Simmons on Harden, and then you could put Thibault, if he's on his game, on Kyrie. And I guess you could put Simmons on KD, Thibault on Harden, and Danny Green on Kyrie. But I really wouldn't trust that Danny Green on Kyrie matchup. Maybe put Danny Green on Harden, because Harden kind of stays more on the perimeter than Kyrie does. But I'm going to take, this is tough. I'm going to take the Nets. I'm going to take the Nets in 6. Like I said, I think the Nets, they've been the title favorites, or the Eastern Conference favorites, since they acquired James Harden. Like, my philosophy is for the Bucks series, like, what's going to happen when Embiid's off, right? You're going to need Tobias Harris to match up against, or outscore, maybe outperform KD, Harden, or Kyrie. I don't like my chances there, because Ben Simmons isn't stepping up. And then who else is going to perform as a shot creator for the Sixers? I don't think it's going to be Thibault. I really don't think it's going to be Thibault. It's not going to be George Hill. It's not going to be Danny Green. I don't think it'll be Shake Milton. So it's going to be really tough if Joel Embiid is off his game at least 2 of those games in that series. But, like, who's going to guard Embiid? So maybe he'll never be off his game. And my philosophy with the Nets over the Bucks, if KD's off, I really like my odds of taking that both Kyrie and Harden will have a good game. Or if Kyrie's off, I think Harden and KD will have a good game. Or if Harden's off, Kyrie and KD should have a good game. So I'm going to take the Nets over the Sixers in 6 games. And then in the NBA Finals, I'm going to take the Clippers in 7. I'm going to make the Clippers my NBA Finals champions. I'm probably never going to learn. I probably won't learn. But I think Kawhi, and this is as long as Paul George is playing like he did in the regular season. Because then I think that they will win the NBA Finals. But if Paul George does not play this way, oh boy, they're going to have trouble getting out of round 1 and round 2, and definitely round 3 if they are lucky enough to make it there. So yeah, those are going to be my NBA Finals predictions, my playoff predictions. Let me know what you agree with or disagree with down below. I'm sure you'll disagree with something. Maybe you think that Miami will beat Milwaukee, or Milwaukee will beat Brooklyn, or Brooklyn will beat Philly can win it all in the Eastern Conference, or maybe the Nuggets will beat the Blazers. I'm sure that's the first thing you disagreed with, and then maybe the Lakers will go back to the finals. So yeah, let me know what you agree with or disagree with down below. Drop a thumbs up if you guys did enjoy the video. I love you guys. Let's have a good playoffs this year, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Peace.